Happy Thursday, everybody. Fantasy sports could soon be regulated in Maine. What does that mean for you? We'll tell you.
Also, before you say yes to your friend about being a bridesmaid, you may want to think about the price tag. It's pretty hefty in New England.
And the Patriots visit the White House, and Sean Spicer gets a visitor.
This is News Center now. Happy Thursday. Just kidding. It's Wednesday. Thanks for joining us. I'm Amanda Hill.
And I'm Chris Costa, in for Lee Goldberg, failing to fill his shoes, apparently.
Listen, you're about to look even better because we're about to go to Keith Carson, who's not very liked right now with his forecast.
You're making me feel better.
That's true in general, but yeah, specifically because spring has kind of gone downhill the past couple of days, and we got some rain moving in now. It wasn't a very good-looking day, but now we're going to get into some cold rain. You can see a whole slug of it across much of New England. Notice, though, as I zoom in, you'll see some of this over the higher terrain that's already mixing in. Now, this is a radar algorithm, so it doesn't know exactly what's going on, but it has an idea what the temperature profile looks like. So I'd love to hear from the mountains and let me know whether or not it's actually falling as snow, but it's certainly a cold rain as it moves through Augusta and into Skowhegan as well. Temperatures are borderline. They're in the 40s right now, upper 30s in spots, and temperatures will continue to drop overnight. So we will see some snow places like Bangor, maybe right into Augusta, certainly up into Millinocket. It's a cold rain over southern Maine. That rain snow line holds right around Augusta and then kind of diagonally here to Rockland. That continues through late tonight and early tomorrow morning before it moves out. The middle of tomorrow actually could be pretty decent with some sunshine, but before that happens, an inch or so of snow. A lot of this will melt on contact, and anything that accumulates, guys, will be accumulating only on grass, not pavement.
All right, we could take that.
That's not so bad. Not so bad.
Hey, if you or someone you know likes to play fantasy sports, you're not alone. Nearly 200,000 people in Maine play games, according to the Fantasy Sports Trade Association.
Yeah, but there's a new bill in Augusta that could regulate how companies operate in Maine. Here's how it could impact you. Scrolling through fantasy sports sites to pick the best lineup in hopes of winning cash. It's an activity thousands of Mainers enjoy and could soon be regulated.
Fantasy sports is no longer just a game a few people play in their basement.
Mark Lavornia, a spokesperson for DraftKings and FanDuel, says a new bill in Maine would actually benefit players.
It's those basic rules, I think, that will give players confidence that the games they're playing are fair.
Rules like prohibiting anyone who could impact a real sports game, such as an athlete, official, referee, or team employee, from playing a fantasy game. LD 1320 would also require a person or company that operates a fantasy contest in Maine to pay a registration fee, 10% of the gross fantasy contest revenues for the preceding year, but no more than $5,000.
It should be treated just like any other industry that interacts with millions and millions of people.
Lavornia says 10 other states have similar regulations, including Massachusetts and New York.
It's a very good piece of legislation. We'll keep working to make sure, like I said, that we're taking from the best pieces of regulation from other states and making sure that appropriate tweaks are made for the state of Maine.
That spokesperson you heard from Lavornia says that they don't expect the amount that fans actually win to change due to that registration fee. And according to the Concord Monitor newspaper, New Hampshire may also start taxing fantasy sports there.
All right, we want to switch gears here. News Center learned today that hypothermia killed meteorologist Tom Johnston after he hurt himself. His official cause of death came from the state medical examiner's office. He died of hypothermia from environmental exposure. The manner of his death was ruled suicide. The examiner says he had self-inflicted wounds, lost consciousness, and died from hypothermia. His body was found the night of April 6th in a wooded area in Auburn.
The suicide of a former Patriots player prompts a call for more mental health services in prisons. Adrian Stein here with more news now. Prison workers found Aaron Hernandez hanging in his jail cell overnight. He died at the hospital. He was serving a life sentence for a 2013 murder and was just acquitted last week in 2012 double murder. The director of Prisoners Legal Services of Mass says that they need more mental health professionals in prisons and jails. Lawmakers fear there are many more cases traces of arsenic in water in Maine that are undetected because of a lack of funding. That is, of course, an odorless, tasteless poison already found in thousands of private wells in Maine. Senator Joyce Maker sponsored a bill setting aside $500 grand in state funding for low-income families who need a filtration system. She also wants more wells tested. Doctors are watching over President George H.W. Bush tonight. He is at a Houston hospital still getting treated for pneumonia. His spokesperson says he is gaining strength, his spirits are high, and that Barbara Bush has been at his side. Mr. Bush is expected to be in the hospital overnight tonight as well.
Speedy recovery. Thanks, Adrian. All right, so tomorrow is April 20th. 420, as some know it. It's commonly known as the unofficial marijuana holiday. A lot of us know that. And in Colorado, it could be a little bit easier to celebrate. In a town near Grand Junction called Parachute, customers can buy pot at a drive-through. That's right, a drive-through.
Now, the business will still need to comply with regulations that apply to every marijuana shop. Nobody under 21 will be allowed to make any purchases. And since pot can't legally be visible outside the shop, people will have to go through the building, which is a former car wash, and drive up to the sale window. Now, it's only been a few months since marijuana was legalized here in Maine, and there's still lots of questions that need to be answered. Colorado's had some more time to figure out some of the logistics. Recreational pot was legalized there back in 2012.
Right, and earlier this month, their governor, Democrat John Hickenlooper, sat down with Yahoo News and reflected on how the state has adapted so far. He said his two biggest fears when the amendment passed were an overall increase in use and specifically a spike in teens smoking more. Hickenlooper also says he was nervous as the father of an 8-year-old when the amendment passed, how teens would adapt to pot being legal. But he says the largest database in the state shows that use among teenagers has remained basically the same. He says the state continues to spend millions on ads that warn of the potential risks of high THC to teenagers. If you want to read his entire interview, we've actually posted a link online and on our Now Facebook page. You ever sent a child on a flight by themselves?
Airlines charge a fee to help your kids get from point A to point B safely. But do the airlines do what they're supposed to? We'll take a look coming up on Now. Well, sending your kids anywhere by themselves can be nerve-wracking. So imagine sending them across the country on a plane only to realize when they got off the plane, they were left to fend for themselves.
I'm not even a parent, and that's horrifying to think of. Well, Danielle Serino explains, and it gets even worse from there.
It was a flight they had made on their own before. 13-year-old Autumn and 7-year-old Aiden traveling from their mom's home in Orlando, Florida to visit Dad and his fiancée in Northeast Ohio for Christmas.
It's just not financially feasible to have him fly down and fly back with them, and so we do the escort service.
A service which, according to Frontier Airlines, is airtight. Here's the form they use for unaccompanied minors, requiring the name of the person meeting the child at the airport, plus an additional contact, their address, telephone number, signature.
And they are very specific to mention the fact that we will only release the children to the designated recipient.
In fact, here's where the airline employee is supposed to sign that they check the photo ID of the person picking up the child. The cost for this peace of mind? $110 per child per direction.
So nobody asked for your ID?
No.
And that's only part of the story. You see, according to Ayla, the children's flight arrived 30 minutes early. Making matters worse, Ayla, who was the one picking them up, got held up in security because of her glitter sweater.
Autumn was uncomfortable because she kept on texting me. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you?
But nothing could prepare her for what she saw when she got to the arrival gate.
They were sitting by themselves in a corner. And I said, where's the guy? And she goes, well, he just told us to sit down and he left.
No phone call, no text, no nothing.
And then the fact that Ayla goes in and takes the children straight out of the airport with no proof of identification. My concern ultimately is not the fact that she got them. I'm glad that she did, but that somebody else didn't.
And that's not far-fetched, according to the Department of Justice. More than 500,000 children under the age of 15 are reported missing every year. Then, of course, there's these signs all over Hopkins Airport reminding flyers that human trafficking happens right here.
No real clear response. It all seemed to be real textbook canned answers.
Well, that wasn't flying with us.
A, I would think that's a violation of your policy.
Which is why we called Frontier.
And B, I definitely think there should be recourse for this family.
So what do you think landed in the couple's inbox 1 week later? This email offering a $200 travel voucher for each of the children and a refund for the unaccompanied minor fee paid for their flight to Cleveland. Although the couple says the days of flying solo are probably over.
This is not going to happen to them again.
All right, we are getting some people weighing in on this on Facebook. Heather says, I have a hard enough time sending kids to daycare. It is tough once you break that trust. I mean, how do you go back from that?
So I worked as a camp counselor and an after-school teacher for a long time, and one thing that they told us was when a parent drops off their child, they are essentially trusting you to be mom or dad for the day, to supervise and take care of their kids. So they trust you a lot.
Right.
So to have that happen, I'm sure, as a parent, must be really unnerving.
Right, and you know no one's ever going to take care of your kid like you.
Right, and
So-
Allison is asking, who hires the people? Are they employees of the flight company?
really good question.
Yeah, another good question. So
Yeah.
anyway, a lot of people talking about this one.
All right.
I'm ready to party.
Hey, you might be ready to party, but are you ready to pay up? Next on Now, the big bucks you might shell out to be a bridesmaid, especially living here in the Northeast.
And a couple of rainy days ahead. Keith has your forecast.
Adrienne Steinbach here with you. Spring is here, and so is wedding season. Quick question, when was the last time you were in a wedding? Depending on your answer, there is probably a very big difference on what it costs today. And in New England in particular, it is actually the priciest place of all to stand next to your best bud on our big day.
So will you be my maid of honor?
Of course I will. If you've just said yes to your BFF,
it's a sheath style.
You might help her choose the perfect dress.
That one. This one or this one? That one.
And to some brides, there's an equally important decision.
What are we doing for the bachelorette party?
Yes, the time-honored tradition that's gone from a night out to a weekend getaway.
Just perfect. It was wonderful.
Brittany Schwartz and her girlfriends took off for Vegas.
I think every girl, when they're first asked to be a bridesmaid, it's like, where are we going? What are we going to do?
A weekend away can be great fun, as long as you can afford it. According to Priceonomics.com, the Northeast is the most expensive place to be a bridesmaid, at an average cost of nearly $1,500 per wedding. Blowout bachelorette parties take up a big chunk of that change. The national average that bridesmaids spend is more than $300. Then there's the dress, the shoes, hair and makeup, and the bridal shower. That's all before any wedding travel and lodging and the gift.
I think every bride has like the guilt factor for like, you know how expensive it can be to be a bridesmaid.
Trips aren't something everyone can do or even the kind of party every bride wants. But most bridesmaids will tell you, I'm ready to party.
Oh, yeah.
They'll do what it takes to be by the bride's side. I mean, you can't even help but laugh, right? Anytime you see that clip. Now, if you are concerned about the prices, here are just a few ways to cut down on costs from Brides Magazine. First, book travel as soon as you have a wedding date to avoid last-minute booking fees and high fares. Share a hotel room, perhaps, with other bridesmaids. Hey, here's a good one. Skip the dress alterations. Trust me, you'll probably never wear this dress again. And look at the registry right now, because the longer you wait, of course, the fewer items that are available, and you might be stuck with a $500 waffle iron or something.
That's a good point. That's a good. I'm the last minute person.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
So we'd love to hear how you're saving money on our News Center Now Facebook page.
Yeah, jump on in on the conversation.
All right, well, this is a video you have to see. File this one under Only in Maine. There was some heavy traffic in Belfast this morning because of this moose who was trying to cross the road on Veterans Memorial Bridge.
Just trying to get across. Belfast police posted this photo on Facebook just before 9 a.m. and said drivers were experiencing heavy moose traffic. Of course, you guys had a lot to say about this on Facebook. Emily said, this is the most Maine headline I've ever seen. Nicole says she's disappointed she missed it, but that would have been interesting to explain to my boss why I should have been late. And Rachel found the perfect emoji to describe the situation.
It's an emoji for everything.
There really is.
It's better than the bridge is up, which is when half the newsroom here doesn't show up.
The bridge is up.
Bridge is up.
So brain drops today. Why did the moose cross the road?
Yeah, exactly.
There we
I was
go.
still interested in that bridesmaid thing. It costs a lot of money to be a bridesmaid.
It really does. Listen, it's tough to be a woman.
I don't get
guys.
asked that often.
I was gonna say.
Me neither.
Bachelor parties have gotten more extreme as well.
Keith, you can be a bridesmaid.
I know.
If I ever get married.
Not above it. I'm not. As long as I get to give a speech, I'm in. All right. Let's take a look at what's going on outside. It's not kind of a nasty day out there now. Cold rain moving into the interior, and some of that is falling as snow right off the bat in some of the higher terrain here. I expect we'll see more of that as the night goes on. Temperatures are going to drop along the coastline here, the mid-coast down across southern Maine, and along the 95 corridor. It'll be just rain tonight, but a cold, kind of nasty night as temperatures hover right around 40 degrees with that rain. Now, as you head to Augusta and probably points north of there, particularly Bangor up into Millinocket, Old Town there, and at Bar Harbor, it will be snow later this evening. It will be cold enough to support snow. It will be wet snow, though, and have a hard time really accumulating in any sensible fashion. We'll see it on the grass a little bit, but not on pavement, stuff like that, maybe your car if it's been off for a while. That continues through early tomorrow morning, then we start to clear out. The middle of tomorrow actually looks pretty good. I think we'll see some nice peaks of sunshine. Temperatures will drive into the mid-50s. And then, unfortunately, another system moves in late tomorrow night. That will be another mixture of rain and snow. So very active and kind of progressive pattern here. So high pressure loosens its grip. The rain snow mix tonight. Again, the middle part of tomorrow is actually decent with drying downsloping winds out of the northwest. But our next system doesn't wait too long. It starts moving in after midnight on Thursday. And then Friday showery with some snow breaking out again on Friday night. That snow may actually get a little bit farther to the south. Here's the next couple of days cumulatively as far as snowfall goes. Again, a lot of this won't really accumulate much. It'll be just on the grass. Best chance of real accumulation will be across Aroostook County. But man, we've gone downhill over the last couple of days. 86 on Sunday, 69 on Monday, 49 on Tuesday, down to 46 for a high today in Portland. But let me tell you something good. When I look into the long-range pattern mid to late next week, I start to see some strong ridging across the east. Look at all these warm colors coming on in from the southwest in through Texas. That will be ours as we head into late next week. We've just got to wait it out. It'll be a while. Until then, we get a decent weekend day. That's Sunday. I don't like Monday as much. I think the showers will stick around through a decent amount of the day, unfortunately. So Sunday is the better of the two weekend days. Sunshine for Monday and Tuesday. But guys, temperatures only in the low 50s at that point.
All right, thanks, Keith. Cindy is here with a preview of what's coming up at 5:30.
Yeah, a Mexican restaurant in rained and went up in flames this afternoon. We're going to have the latest on what happened there. Some Maine organizations are getting an infusion of money to help treat opiate addicts. We're going to tell you where that money is coming from and how it's going to be used. Plus, it's no secret that hunger is a really big issue here in Maine, but it's not typically something you connect with college students. We're going to explain why that is an issue on college campuses, and we'll tell you how one campus is addressing it. That's coming up at 5:30.
Very cool. We'll be right back.
What pans out in the negotiation, but I think there's an opportunity. Can I just need some help? I think I got this, but thank you. Maybe.
In true Gronk form, the Patriots tight end walked in on Sean Spicer's daily press briefing at the White House today. The Patriots in D.C. today for a Super Bowl celebration.
Right, President Trump welcomed the team and congratulated them on their win. In the off chance that you forgot, at one point during Super Bowl 51, the Atlanta Falcons were beating the Pats 28-3. Pats turned it around in what you could argue was one of the greatest comebacks of all time. Oh, by the way, I was there. The team presented President Trump with a personalized jersey and a Super Bowl helmet. By the way, Sean Spicer did not seem too confident that he didn't need Gronk's help there.
He might have needed the big guy, just in case things got tumbled.
Just in case.
Did you see during the marathon somebody had a great motivational sign?
Yes.
It's 28-3 in the third quarter.
Oh.
Just in case you were thinking about quitting. All right, today's brain drops. I've been doing a lot of anti-aging stuff lately, but
Yeah.
this is specific. So they use mice, obviously, for a lot of these tests. So what they've done is they've taken some blood, young blood, like umbilical cord blood, which a lot of times you can either discard it or you can donate to a blood bank because it's not used anymore. So anyways, they infused this into these mice, and they found that their minds reversed their aging process. And the way they knew this is they were quicker on mazes, and they were able to avoid areas that were electrocuted, so they didn't bump into them as much. So they went back and found out that their brains had actually reversed the aging process. A couple of things here. One is that we have a lot of promising results in mice that don't translate to humans. Yeah. The other problem is we have to find a different way for this to work, because the amount of blood that you would need for a human is much more. And there are a lot of babies, but there ain't that many babies. Right. So kind of interesting, though. There's a few studies now over the past couple of months that have showed reversing of aging from different plasma and proteins with mice.
So,
easier to understand than yesterday.
Yeah, yeah.
We're done with math. News Center at 5:30 is next.